that's a great start. All right, feel free to have energy. All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the first episode of Peakformance Academy podcast. Really excited to get this going. My name's Korbin Giuliano, and I'm a co-founder of Peakformance, and this is my buddy Mike.
Other co-founder, also known as Mike Silliman.
All right, yeah. So listen to this podcast. What we really want to do was provide athlete insight. Our main focus here was mental performance, athletic training, and it was sports IQ strategies. These are our three components we're looking into. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, so our three primary components that we based our company off of is outthink, outwork, and outperform, right? So really prioritizing all three of those, combining the mental with the physical aspects that comes with success in sport performance.
Yeah, and what we really want to show you is kind of what it takes to get to the next step. We want to provide you with that true, real, unfiltered content that you're not going to get anywhere else. And what we really want to show you again is just how you can take that next level as an athlete if you don't have someone guiding you every step of the way. You don't have a dad or a mom or someone there with you. You can take we can be kind of that mentor role for you, especially those younger athletes out there.
Right, and especially providing our own personal experiences, right? We both played sports growing up our entire lives. We're both heavily involved in strength training. We study exercise science at Syracuse, and we want to go into the strength and conditioning, athletic training realm one day. This is our passion. We enjoy helping others, and this is our goal, right? Our vision for this whole company is not only for our own enjoyment and fulfillment in doing what we want to do one day, but also being able to help athletes and give them the advice that we wish we had when we were playing sports or, anything regarding strength and conditioning.
Yeah, and I mean, you see it all the time out there, and there's a lot of, whether it's on Instagram or in person, there's a lot of stuff focused on the physical aspect. You got the physical trainers online, you watch them on YouTube. You sign up for strength stuff online or in person. You got the coaches who are there for you. But the one thing we want to go with is the mental performance side. I think it's kind of become cliche today where everyone says mental health matters and mental performance matters. And very few people, you don't see it instituted in the game. You don't see it instituted in training. It's just kind of this known thing that no one knows how to attack. And what we kind of want to show with you through this is how to do that, ways to do it, and kind of the importance of it, and go deeper into it rather than just say it's important. We want to go into why it's important, why it matters.
Right, exactly. I mean, you probably know of a few mental strategies to help get back in the zone here or there. There's not any structure, though. I feel like most people don't know how to train it. And it's not trained as you train your body physically for your sports, right? No one really has a structured mental training program that prepares them for different situations that they may encounter in competition.
Yeah, so let me ask you this, Mike. What kind of personal experiences kind of led you to this field, led you to launching something like this? Because it takes a lot of courage and a lot of effort to kind of go about something like this without having kind of a format out or someone already doing it. So what kind of led you to this?
My whole thing with this company right now is entirely following your lead, right? This was Korbin's idea. This is his baby. I'm just following along because I have a passion for this. I love lifting. I love strength conditioning ever since I was a kid, right? My story kind of stems from I played baseball and basketball primarily growing up, but never for school. I always wanted to play baseball for the school team. I tried out for my modified team when I was in 8th grade.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then I got cut from tryouts.
You made, what was it, freshman, though, or JV before COVID happened?
I made JV before COVID. I got cut another year before then,
You were a JV player.
I got cut 2 years in a row before I made it as a JV practice squad. Unfortunately, that was the year that COVID hit, and I went to one star. I would have, right? But I went to one practice, and then everything shut down. So that was my extent of my baseball career. But in the process of getting ready for baseball, I really developed a passion for lifting and strength conditioning and training the skills that were necessary in order to perform. And over a certain period of time, and this really got instilled in me over COVID because There wasn't really anything going on. All I had was my squat rack that my dad got for me, luckily just in time before everything shut down. Had that in my basement. I'd be down there every single day. And then I just developed this passion for lifting, this passion for strength conditioning. I loved the programming. I loved the monotony. I loved the structure. And I eventually decided that when I went to school, I wanted to study exercise science because this is what I wanted to do. I just had such an enjoyment for it.
I think it's like you're saying, it takes a lot of discipline to go about something like this. To be committed and build a habit with the physical training aspect, a lot goes into it. There's got to be a dedication where if you're not feeling good, if you're sore, if you're short on time, where you got to be willing to put in extra work. And I think again, this whole like concept has become cliche, where everyone says you got to go the extra mile, you got to outwork, you got to look at the person next to you and work harder than them. Everyone says it, but I coach baseball. I've coached baseball for the past 5-6 years, and I've seen it. I try to tell my kids, you got to work hard. You know, you got to do the extra effort to get to that D1 level. But you still see it where they just don't do it, right? They half-ass practice, or they show up late, or they're tying cleats 2 minutes before they got to be on the field to warm up. They're talking in the dugout when they're coming up to hit on the on-deck circle. And it's just this kind of nonchalant approach that it seems every athlete has now, where they just don't try. And I hate to say it because I coach a lot of good kids, but a lot of them are just there to be there. They're there, their presence is there, but mentally, their mind, they're not ready. They're not ready to perform. They're not ready to work. And there's no thought. They just go through motions. And I think that's what harms a lot of these athletes, and why I kind of want to start this is kind of get past that. Show them that you have to make a commitment to yourself. Just listening to someone like you and I talk, just watching videos on what to do, just listening to a coach or being at practice, that's not good enough anymore. You see athletes, they're running faster, they're throwing harder, they're hitting the ball farther. Not a soccer guy, but score more goals, I guess. But you have to be willing to go to the extra mile and not compare yourself, right? I think that's a big thing. Is a lot of athletes look next to them and say that guy's better than me, and they shut down, right? And I think it's kind of become this thing where you look next to a guy and you're okay being middle of the pack. You have this sense of like you're comfortable. You're okay with being there. And there's no willingness to be uncomfortable today, right? There's no willingness. And that's, if I had to give one piece of advice, it'd be get uncomfortable. Put yourself in an uncomfortable situation. Because if you don't, you're never going to know your limits. You're never going to be able to perform in high pressure scenarios. You're never going to be able to push yourself to what you can actually be. Everyone wants to reach their potential, but in order to do that, you got to be willing to put in extra work.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. And just going off that, right, going back to your point of like athletes being nonchalant when they approach their training, but still showing up kind of half-assing it, right? They want the results, but they're not willing to put in the work, right? You know, Ronnie Coleman said, everyone want to be a bodybuilder, but ain't nobody want to lift no heavy weight, right?
No, but want to be a bodybuilder. Exactly. Nobody want to lift this heavy ass weight.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Earl. Good impression.
Yes. But exactly, right? Nobody really understands the amount of work that it truly takes in order to get to that next level. And also, going off your point about just gaining some motivation from listening to anybody. I personally listen to motivational speeches and videos on YouTube. And like, is it cringy? Some people might say it is, but it works for me. And personally, you know, I'm a dog because of it, right? Respectfully, I'm a dog.
Okay.
As long as you can find an outlet, find something that helps instill some motivation in you. There's no such thing as, it's cringy or it's cheating or whatever. Use that one thing that you find and latch onto it and allow it to help you achieve that next level. And really, really think about your reason why, right? Everybody wants the results, but think about why you want the results? Do you want it because you want to be cooler? Do you want it because you want to put the label of, oh, I played, I made the varsity team, right? Or do you want it because truly deep inside of you, you have this passion for the process that it takes to get there? And I think that's the difference between those that just show up and expect results and those that are actually there, those that make it to the D1 level, those that make it to the pro level. They enjoy the process and they know why they started.
I think a big part of it is coaching. And I see it all the time back home. You have all these dads coaching. All these dads coaching that think their own kid is going to go to the next level. And that's the only reason why they're coaching. They don't give any attention to any other kid. They treat them as trash, right? Like they bat their own kid in the 3-hole. They start him on the mound. They start him at quarterback. Like it's a political thing. Sports are politics, and there's just bad coaches everywhere. You see it at whatever tournament. I guarantee you, 95% of coaches are just awful. Like they don't pay attention to each individual. They don't pay attention to like who they're coaching. And coaching is about balancing personalities and understanding your athletes. And if you can't do that, you're not going to be a successful coach. And then from an athlete perspective, you got to find a coach that cares about you, that is willing to work with you outside of practice. Not just go to the field, but you can talk to them. You can text them. They check in on you. There's this relationship that you build with a coach that you know he has your back. Instead of you being scared to go, make a mistake, and then you're just playing out of fear. And I think, again, that's before I came in. The team I coach now, they had a coach before, and their coach hated when their kids made mistakes. He wanted perfect play. And when I got there, you could see how tight they'd play. They'd make a mistake, and immediately they'd go 0-4 the rest of the game. They'd make 3 more errors because their mind wasn't there. And when I came in and started talking to the other coach, Matt, and we just started going through things, I told the kids it's okay to make mistakes. It's part of playing sports. You are going to make mistakes, and you're going to fail, right? Like it's a guarantee that you will fail in sports. It's not, again, I keep saying cliche, but there are all these cliches now in sports where when you fail, you get right back up. It's not that easy. It's not that easy to pick yourself back up and move on. In every sport, you got to have the short mindset, right? You got to have this really short mindset where you just wash everything, right? Because I remember there was one year, my 16U baseball year, I struck out 4 times all season. 3 of those came in one game because I was the starting pitcher and gave up 4 runs in the first inning, and my head wasn't right, and I struck out 3 times. 3 at-bats, 0 for 3, 3 Ks, runners in scoring position, and I cost my team the game because I wasn't there presently. And the coach he saw that, but didn't know how to handle it. And even though I had a relationship with them, it wasn't as developed as it should have been. And I think that's why you need a coach who's kind of there walking you through, and a mentor, right? Again, it doesn't have to be a coach. It can be a trainer. It can be a friend. It can be a parent. But you got to have someone you can look to and get advice from. I think that's really important. And again, that's kind of why I wanted to start this, is kind of give those people advice. The people who don't have someone to look to, the people who don't have a parent who knows about the sport. There's dads who think they know about the sport, and then there's people who actually know about the sport. Dad's takes on the sport is if you fail, right? They don't look. If you strike out, it's a strikeout. Someone who knows the sport, if you strike out on 8 pitches, that's a good ass at bat, right? If you strike out on 7 pitches, that's a good ass at bat. If you go down on 3 pitches and you're looking, bad at bat. Right? It's a different concept when you understand the sport. If it's football and you got a quarterback who throws 3 straight interceptions, yeah, it's a bad stat line. Did they disguise the coverage? Right? You have the cornerback crashing in, right? Is there a blitz coming on? Is it an offensive line fault? There's more to sports than just what a box score says. And all these wannabe dads, all these wannabe coaches, look at the box score and think that's okay. And think it's okay to see a kid batting 0 for 3 with 3 Ks and put him in the last spot. Whereas you can have a kid who goes 0 for 3 with 3 Ks and should be your one hitter because they're good at bats. He works a full count. He works 10 pitch at bats. He puts balls in play. Like it's not all about what you see in the box score. And that's what pisses me off is you see it all the time, And it's destroying kids' confidence. It's destroying their love for the game. It's destroying who they are, right? When you step off the field, you don't just leave it. You go home and think about it. Now, should you? No. But you just do. And when you go home thinking about, oh, I went 0 for 3 with 3 Ks, tomorrow I'm going to be batting last because of it, that's not okay. How are you supposed to come back and prove yourself knowing that if you go 1 for 3, you're probably not moving up if everyone else is going 2 for 3? That shouldn't be the case. You should be able to fail. And yeah, there's some consequences here and there if you're batting 0-100 for 25 games. But if you can't find it, it's the coach's fault. And no coach takes responsibility anymore. And it's an issue in every single sport you see at every single level. You see it at college. I see it here, watching teams play. Coaches no longer want to coach. They just want the results. And what comes with that is athletes quit, athletes give up on themselves, athletes give up on their teammates, they give up on who they are, and there's just no confidence anymore in sports. And that's why you see a lot of youth leagues, a lot of hometown leagues are falling apart because of that. No one wants to play anymore because coaches are giving up on their kids, or they shouldn't be coaching. And it's hard to go back and coach. Like for me, I go back to coach to get back to make up for all this, right? I went through all this. I saw all this, how it happened. I saw bad coaches. I saw bad teammates. And I want to go back to fix that, right? I want to be a solution to the problem. And not many people want to do that. And it's because they didn't understand what comes out of that. I went on for a bit there, but
no, you're good. I want to ask you a question. Specifically, do you have an example of, because you obviously mentioned the importance of a mentor, the importance of their leadership on their athletes' performance. Do you have a good example from your past, and then do you have a bad example, and then what they did to either make them a good example, a good influence on you, or a bad example, and how to learn from that?
I'll start with the bad first because that seems I'm going down that path. But it's unfulfilled promises. It's the promise that they're going to walk you through, that they're going to make you better, that they're going to help you get recruited, they're going to take you to the next level. It's this promise that they're going to understand you, that they're going to be there for you, that they're going to text you. I'm not saying you got to be like best friends. You don't got to have a parental relationship with your athletes. But they got to be able to text you to know that you're willing to help them. And you don't look at them asking for help as a fault on them. And I think that's also something common. And one of the coaches I had told me he'd help me get to the next level. He'd be there with me. He'd walk me through it. He'd help me develop, build programs for me. And I'd wait for programs and they'd never come. And then I'd ask them. They'd never come. So how am I, as an athlete, as a 15-year-old kid trying to take my game to the next level, supposed to do that if the person I'm relying on isn't providing me with what I need? And that was the issue I had. I'll go to the good example. And this guy, he coached me from when I was like 10 to when I was like now 18 till I stopped playing, or I'm 21 now. A little lag there, but
Me too.
Nice. But he helped me grow, not just as a player, but as a person. He showed me that what happened on the field, I can apply outside of it. And I think that's also really important, to apply a short mindset, to be able to move on from things quickly. To not focus on the losses or on the wins. I always tell my kids, you can never get too high, you can never get too low. You got to stay right in the middle all the time. No matter if you're up by 10, down by 10, you have to stay in the middle. And that's what I learned from him, is that, again, off the field in life, you have a crazy win, you ace a test, you don't get too high because there's another one, right? If you're not prepared for the next one, it doesn't matter. Now your grade just tanks. Same thing applies in sports. If I'm batting 750, or if I hit 5 home runs over the course of 10 games, and then I'm riding this high and I stop working, I'm going 0 for the rest of the season. None of that matters. And he also taught me one thing that I think is really important, is that it's okay to be selfish. It's okay to, I don't want to say not care, but it's okay to put yourself first. And again, I think that's something that's looked down upon a lot. And I'm not saying that you don't care about anyone else. I'm saying that when you go to the field to work and you're working with someone else, you get your reps. You don't just let him have reps. At practice, you don't let everyone you want to get reps, right? You make a mistake, you ask to go again. That's what I tell the kids I coach. You make a mistake, ask to go again. The worst a coach can say is, no, I don't have time. right? And they might not because practice is a short schedule, right? Like, I'm not saying outside, off the field, right? You don't like selfish people. You don't want to get this big ego, but on the field, it's okay to have a big ego. And I played with guys like that. I didn't like them. I didn't like teammates that had big egos. And I don't know if you can speak to that, but guys that have big egos, a lot of people don't like. But you got to understand that having a big ego within the bounds, not when you have a big ego and don't care about your teammates, that's a problem. But when you have a big ego because you're trying to prove yourself and you're working harder than everyone, that's okay. When you have a big ego and are selfish, that doesn't mean you got to be a jerk, right? It just means on the field, you act like you're better than everyone else, right? And that's not a problem if you're acting like on the field. If I field the ball and chuck it across the diamond, dart as hard as I can, it's this like anger built inside of you. It's this anger built inside of you that you want to perform better than everyone else. And it's this motivation. It's not just this unhumbleness.
Right. So going off your point about athletes being cocky and how it comes across like that to pretty much everybody, that those athletes that have those big egos, right? They seemingly, they piss people off, and it might not seem like they know what they're talking about, but think about Michael Jordan. Think about Kobe Bryant. If you didn't know their skills in basketball, you would think they're fucking prick, right? They're cocky and they have confidence, but they also have leadership. And I think that's the difference, right? Between someone that has an ego and can't back it up and then leaders. Leaders have the confidence to execute on the skills that they practice, and they have the confidence to speak up and instill messages, values, and get their team coherent, right? Get them set on a common goal, right? That's the difference. It's a leader, and a leader might come across as cocky or confident, right? But they have the knowledge to back it up, and it's for a reason.
Now, I'm going to segue into something a little different, but kind of staying on the same page, is kind of the you versus you mentality. And it's corny. I showed my kids this. It used to be my phone background. And I showed my kids this, and they thought it was all corny and funny, but it's true. You have to have this you versus you mentality. It's a willingness to outdo yourself every day. It's not just comparing yourself to other athletes and comparing yourself to other people. Again, this applies off the field too. It's not walking down the street and looking at someone and thinking they're better than you. It's just looking in the mirror and trying to be a better person, a better athlete, have a better mentality than you were the day before, than you were earlier that day, than you were 10 seconds before you walk in that room. It's this willingness to outdo yourself day in and day out. And not just have this kind of like thought, but being able to show it on the field. And you can tell someone, I can watch someone play and understand if they're playing out of fear in terms of their opponent, right? Walking up to a field, again, I coach like 14-year-olds. You walk up to a field and you see a 6'7" kid, they're all like, holy shit, this kid's huge. Like, no shit, he's fucking 6'7". Like, you can't walk into a field and have this fear of the people across from you. You got to have this confidence that they got to look at you from across the field. That you have to focus on yourself and what you're doing. Because that's how you're going to become better. That's how you're going to help your team. That's how you're going to get to the next level, is this willingness to outdo yourself. And, that's why, like, when it comes to physical training, when you track your numbers, you try to improve on those the next week. When you track your stats, you try to improve on those the next inning, the next game, the next at bat. When you look at, when you look at your mentality, it's harder to look at that, but you have to understand, when you look at your mentality, it's showing up to the field. Am I ready to play? When you're not going to have a good game. I can guarantee. I can put 100% confidence. I can look at a kid, and when he's not ready and showing up late and tying his shoe 2 minutes before he's supposed to be out there, he's messing around in the dugout. If he's walking up to the on-deck circle and talking to teammates in the dugout, I can bet you 9 times out of 10 he's striking out or getting out. Because he's not focused on what he can do. He's focused on his teammates. He's focused on his parents yelling at him. That pisses me off the most. This is not related, but when parents put their foot on the field, and what I mean by that is when parents are yelling at the side, coaching from the sidelines. And I can't stand that. When I was younger, I played with a kid who his dad would sit behind home plate and coach him. That's not your job. Your job's not to fucking coach. It's to sit there and support your kid. So shut the fuck up and watch your kid play and let the coach do his job. If you're not happy with the coach, go play for another damn team. I have kids who no longer play for me. They didn't like how I coach. Okay. Right? I'm not going to be butthurt by it. Right? Do I think that was the right decision? No. Because personally, I think I'm a great coach. And I think I can help a kid get to the next level and get to where he wants to be on and off the field and make him a better person and eventually become like a man. And it's when parents put their foot on the field, it makes the kid think it's okay to not listen to the coach, to not listen to their teammates, to think that they have this right to listen, that their parents have this input onto the field. And that's not true. I didn't know the kids I coach, I did not know their parents. I could tell you maybe 5 names still. And most of the kids I've been coaching for 3 years. I could not tell you any of their parents' names, except the dads that coached with me that were my assistants, or the dads of the kids I helped train. I could not tell you any of the other parents. And I told them this at the end of the season when I was done coaching last year. That's a good thing for a coach. If a coach doesn't know the parents' names, that means they didn't have to talk to them. That means the parents didn't put their foot on the field and give input into decisions. Now, I had a kid quit work. He assumed that everything was just going to be handed to him. And when it wasn't, he stopped showing up and he stopped wanting to play. And I was okay with that because I tell every single kid this that comes to practice, every single kid I train, every single kid I coach, if you don't want to be there, if you don't want to put in the work, don't come. I'm not going to put effort into someone who doesn't want it. And his parents thought that he deserved to be put on this pedestal that wasn't yet built, that shouldn't have been there. Kids, half my team was better than him. And when he didn't get that, he stopped showing up. And the kids who were there got more playing time. The kids who showed up to every practice got more playing time. The kids who showed up on time got more playing time. The kids who put in the work got more playing time. And it's deserved. It's a right to play. It's not a guarantee. It's a privilege. It's a privilege to put your foot on the field. And kids who don't take it that way and think it's something that's deserved rather than earned isn't going to play, at least from my perspective, or shouldn't play. If you're there at a D1 level, you should be willing to work. And a lot of players, this isn't just here at Syracuse, it's everywhere across the country. They get to the D1 level and then they think they just deserve to play. They no longer have to earn it. They're on scholarship. They have all these NIL deals. They no longer have to earn the right to play. And I think that's a big issue. And Coach Brown does it here. He gets on their ass. Like he uses vulgar language. He yells at them in front of everyone else because it's a right. It's like I said, it's a privilege. It's a privilege to play at this level and play at any level and play any sport. Your parents invest a ton of money. When you play D1, your parents invest thousands of dollars to get you to that level. And a lot of them take that for granted. And again, that's a big issue. I keep spieling on, but I got a lot to say about this.
Just speaking on behalf of your experiences, right, with dealing with athletes that you coach and work with that expect results. They expect to be held on this pedestal that they haven't yet earned. That's the result of wanting instant gratification, and
it's bad parenting too. It's bad parenting.
It's a result of instant gratification for both the athlete and the parents, especially at that younger level, right? But what it boils down to is, I just read a book by Simon Sinek. It's called.
You read books?
Occasionally. It was for a class, so that's the only reason why. But it was called The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. Basically, real quick, finite games versus infinite games. He broke it down. Finite games are games like football, right? It has a start and an end, and rules to play by, and the objective is to win. But an infinite game is more of a vision, right? It's like business. It's the game of life. There's no such thing as rules to play by, and there is no end, right? But he advances this idea of an infinite mindset. You want to look down the road, and you have to be willing to see past where you're currently at. See past a small bump in the road for the greater cause. Think about the cause. Think about your why, not wanting instant gratification. And the issue with those parents and those players and these athletes that want this thing right now, they don't have the vision down the road, and they don't have a clear why, a clear just cause for where they want to be. They just want it now, and they don't understand that if they have this infinite mindset and they can look down the road, that will help them in achieving their goals more than just focusing on what's at hand right now. Like businesses will make cuts in order to save profit margins at the end of their physical year, right?
That sounded pretty smart.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah,
Thank you.
That's
But
a first.
they'll make cuts to their employees at the end of the fiscal year in order to save profit margins because they have a finite mindset. But guess what happens to those companies? They don't work. They have bad leadership. When you have a good leader, that good mentor, or just that leadership mentality of an infinite mindset, you can look past those small problems and take more of an approach of working towards those goals over a longer period of time, not expecting to have it right now, but being willing to put in all the work necessary in order to get there, no matter how long it takes.
Yeah, I mean that sums it up pretty good. I mean, it's kind of like this. It's kind of you got this quote down. It's hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Put yourself in artificial hard times. And I think I saw you put that down, and it's really good because no one wants to put themselves in hard times. No one wants to challenge themselves anymore. No one. And when people say they challenge themselves, they do one more rep of something. That's not challenging yourself. Challenging yourself is going to try a new position. Challenging yourself is going to the coach and asking what you need to work on and then working on that, not just one day, not just for 1 week, for the entire season. Because as soon as these kids, you talked about instant gratification, and as soon as these kids see a result, they think everything's fixed. They could be in a slump, they get one hit and think everything's fixed. And that can be good, right? You get one hit, now all of a sudden the ball looks bigger, right? And that might turn into something else. But that's something a little different. Whereas when you put yourself in these hard times, and you say artificial, and that's because it's not like a game situation, right? That's what you mean by that, right? Yeah. It's not like you're in a crowd environment. You're pushing yourself right after you fail, right after you get yelled at by a coach, right after you see a teammate do something, right or wrong. You see a teammate make a great play, you go out there and try to outdo them, right? It's trying to push yourself and keep going. And I'm going to tie this back to Peakformance as we kind of wrap up. And that's kind of what we're trying to do here is I think kind of you'll see clips from this. And again, we're trying to bring you that real unfiltered stuff that you're not going to get anywhere else. Everywhere else you see, whether that's on Instagram, in person, from dads, from moms, from family members, from friends, it's all this, I don't want to say garbage, but it's all this surface level stuff, like a willingness to fail. That's not real. And we'll get more into that later on in another episode. But it's this ability to apply yourself in all these situations, ability to listen to, I'm not saying you got to take every word you or I say, right? I don't got to, right? You give me training advice. I don't listen to every word you say, but you have good input. And it's a willingness to apply that. And that's what we're trying to do, is trying to give you input into all this and make you think about something. And I could care less if 10,000 people were to watch anything at one point. If we have 5 kids who watch this and kind of take a different approach to how they're going about not just sports, but life, it's a success for me. And that's why I started this, because I coach 12 kids. I want other kids to kind of understand what I show those kids. Because in my opinion, those kids have an advantage having me as a coach. And I know that might sound egotistical, but I think it's true, because they get my perspective. Like everything I said, that's what I tell my kids. Everything that I said during this episode and everything I will say, the kids I coach hear. And some of them take that for granted. And because they're young and they don't understand a bad coach. They don't understand what a bad coach is, and they will. When they look back, I don't want them to look at, if they think I'm a bad coach, I wouldn't want to look back and see I'm a bad coach and then never go play for someone else. I want them to look back and be like, oh, when coach said this, I should have done this. It should be something where when you kind of hear something we say or watch a video we post or look at a reel or whatever it is, you look at it and it just makes you think a little more. You don't got to apply every single thing we say or do to your life and to your sports, but it's an ability to kind of understand a little more, take it beyond surface level. And that's kind of what we're trying to do here. And through everything we post, everything we say, is kind of give you that kind of little deeper input into everything. That's our slogan out. Think, right? Think a little more, right? Develop your IQ. And that's not just like your cliche IQ. It's understanding game situations, understanding what it takes to become great. About work, put in that extra effort, right? Don't just go to practice and call it a day, right? Don't assume that practice once a week is good enough to take it to the next level, no matter who your coach is, no matter what level you're at. You have to work on your own and outperform, be able to apply everything, execute at all aspects, be able to when you're put in a game situation, be able to not think, because you don't want to overthink, but you do want to think. And I know, again, we'll get into that a little more, but you want to be able to understand what you have to do in order to be successful. And that's the outperform aspect of all of this. Anything you got to add as we wrap it up?
Yeah, I mean, just going off your point about whether 5 people or 5,000 people ever end up watching any of the content that we put out here, we're not making this cost money or anything. We're actually both significantly in the hole right now, right?
It's gonna be that way forever.
It will. It might never change.
That's the thing. We're not here for a profit. We're not here to make money. We're here to offer support and offer insight into what it takes, and try to give you that kind of. Again, I don't want to say mentor because there's no personal connection we have with not everyone listening. Some people we do, but we want to be able to give you kind of that insight into what it takes. And that's what we're here to do, is not only what it takes, what you can set apart, how you can set yourself apart, because that's a big thing, being able to set yourself apart from the competition.
We have experiences. What are you laughing at, bro?
Nothing.
We have our own experiences, right? We're not necessarily self-proclaimed experts. We're not professionals, right? But we have a love for training. We have a love for helping athletes succeed. And we want to give the advice that we wish we had when we were playing sports in high school. And we can only use this passion that we have for training, for helping people and putting it out in the world. And hopefully, if it helps just one person, we won.
It's worth it. Yeah, Jimmy, helped Jimmy.
So, I mean, even just as a, college student listening to this, I mean, this is stuff that goes even beyond sports.
For sure.
Here's this, you're
for
going to
sure.
use this like Mike was talking about for, when you're in the corporate world, like you're going to use kind of mentality when you're like if you find yourself in like an administrative head, some type of executive.
It's a life application, not just a sport application.
Goes way beyond sports, and that's where really the power of Peakformance Academy is to go.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. And
I mean, going off that too, like I'm using this as an outlet to help develop my own leadership and confidence skills and public speaking skills. This goes beyond just training and application, right? We're developing
as a person. Developing our personality, our mindset, our ability to set ourselves apart.
Right. The coach at I intern at a local high school right here, CBA, and I work primarily with the football team, and they just came off 2 back-to-back New York State championship wins, and their head coach, Coach Brown, he is a great man, and the influence that he has over his team, I take so much from that, and I have so much respect for him, because it's not just about his intensity with them in the weight room. Yes, he's very strict on them, he's hard on them, and he's a great coach, on the application on the skill level, obviously, because they've executed that twice at the state championship level. But after pretty much every lift, he always gathers them in the huddle, and then he'll give them a short speech on skills that they learn to be a better man one day, how to be a better husband, a better brother, right?
Better son.
Yes, exactly. He talks to them about this shared artificial pain, right, that they go through in the weight room. And I call it artificial because some people, right, go through real pain in life. Lifting, working out, training, having mental discipline to get better in your sport.
Yeah.
That's not real pain. That's artificial pain, right? And I think that's something that people should try to remember. Like, this is artificial pain, and some people really, really go through real shit out there. But that's besides the point. Coach Brown always instills the fact that this camaraderie, this shared artificial pain, helps build them and mold them into men that can work in teams, right? That can understand other people's pain and continue to push forward, right? And I mean, this goes for women too. Obviously, I'm just using the football team as an example, but having the ability to really shape your mental side of things will help you not only in life but in your sport performance.
Yeah, and again, that's exactly what we're trying to do here. And I think we're going to kind of end this episode here with that. But because, again, that's everything that we're going to try to bring. It's kind of show what it takes to get to that level and give insight into how to be an athlete that kind of looks at it from that perspective and not get lost in the end destination when you reach it, but focused on the process, every little step of the way. And that's what we're trying to do here at Peakformance. So set you apart, build habits, build a routine, and become not just a better athlete, but a better, I want to say person, because it's both guys, both and girls, to help benefit you on and off the field. So that's going to wrap it up this one. Follow us at Peakformance Academy. Share this episode with a teammate. And if you want, DM us with your biggest struggles in sports so we can might feature them in a future episode. So next episode, we're going to be focusing on the foundation and setting yourself from the competition. It's not going to be any fluff. Like we said, it's going to be real tactical stuff that you can apply to every sport. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Buy the shirts. Shout out.
Buy the shirts.
Let's get hype.